and welcome to the Her Story, My Story podcast, Conversation from Africa. This is your host, Abby,
And Jayne.
and we are so happy you guys are here with us today as we get into one of our conversations. How are you
Yeah,
doing,
yeah.
Jane?
I'm good. I'm good. A little I had a sleepless night. Don't know why. It's kind of unusual, but I'm still good today. I'm still praising the Most High for another day, you know?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. How about you? Did you get rest last night?
I did. I did. Yes. As some of you may know, I had to travel back to the U.S. So I've been here for a week now, actually. And time difference is about 6 to 7 hours. So, and in Rwanda, we don't do the daylight savings time, but we just did daylight savings time this past Sunday. So today would be Tuesday, and so I did the whole traveling in the airplane, jet lag, trying to get used to that, and then all of a sudden I think we sprung forward. So
Right.
I still don't know why we do daylight saving time. It just, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I'm sure there's some nefarious reason for it, just like everything
Mm,
else. But
well, apparently, according to airport trivia, we travel around the sun 365.25 days a year. So
mm.
that's what they account for, and then we have like the leap year or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, whatever. I'm not even educated enough on that to make a real comment, except to say I don't believe nothing these jokers be saying. I will
I
say,
know. I feel like we need to be following the Ethiopian calendar, to be honest.
yeah,
We're still back in 2018, 2019.
that is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about, like you just mentioned, you just traveled back to the States, and in the past when you traveled back and forth, you had your entire family with you,
Oh
right?
my goodness.
So what was it like? And look, tell the truth. It's okay. It's okay to have fun without your kids. Like it's okay. So how was the flight? Were you able to relax more, or did you feel, emotional? I mean, of course, emotions had to be present because you were leaving your family for a period of time. But did you get to enjoy the travel?
I think enjoyment, I don't know if I enjoyed it, but it was a lot less stressful than having to manage myself, my luggage, and two ambulating children and a baby in a car seat. When I traveled with the kids, I would have, Miji was like 1.5, and I mean he still is small enough, but I would carry him on me while we were walking through the airport. And the airports are quite large, and sometimes it's a long walk to the gate that you need to get to. So and then I would have him on my front, and then I would have a backpack, and then you think that a 5-year old and a 6, 7-year old would be able to like push their own carry-on luggage. Yeah. So that wasn't a thing. So and then Jason has all the luggage too, and then I'm hollering at my kids like, keep walking, keep going, and they're like, my legs hurt, and I'm like, keep walking. So to just be by myself, like that was a big difference. But I think it was interesting that so I left Kigali and we had to stop in Uganda. There was no plane change, so some people got off and some people got on. So on my way to Uganda, I was the only person in my row. So I was sitting in the middle 4 rows of the airplane, and I was like, nice, I have so much space. We got to Uganda, Janie. I was sitting like in the second seat. Like that was my assigned seat. They were like, "You need to sit in your assigned seat because it's a full flight." I'm like, "Okay, let me sit." Because I was like, I want to sit on the aisle, you know. So let me sit in this seat, and I'm telling you, for 8 hours to Amsterdam, I sat between two very healthy people, and I was like my elbows, like I couldn't even put my arms on the armrest, for like 8 hours. And I felt so bad. I was like, I don't know why I felt bad, but I felt bad. I was just like, oh, okay, here I am. And it's an overnight flight, so everybody's sleeping. So I think at
Right.
one point somebody was like sleeping on me, but I didn't want to. There was no room. Oh my gosh. So that was the first half. And then I got to Amsterdam and I had a lot of help. A lot of help just getting to my gate, and that was a relief. So, not many of you know this, but I am low vision. And so when I got off the airplane, somebody was there to help me, and they were like, "Do you want to walk or do you want to ride?" And I was like, "Let's ride." So I was sitting in a wheelchair, and they just pushed me to my gate. It was easy. I was like at the front of the line for security. It was nice, and it just took a lot of like anxiety and stress out of that whole scenario. So that was nice. I got on the plane. Now this plane headed to America, Janie. So I went from a packed flight, and I went to this flight that was on its way to America. Tell me why half the aircraft was empty. Like there was barely anybody on that flight
On its way to America.
on its way to America.
Wow.
People, like, after it took off, people were getting up and moving around and kind of choosing their own seats, because there were like plenty of window seats. There were like rows that were just vacant, and people were just getting up and taking up space.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah, so that's my long answer to your question. So I would say that that second flight was a little more enjoyable because at that time I had the whole road to myself. So I actually just kind of like put the armrest up and kind of laid out on the seat and took a nap. So that was nice.
Right. Right. Wow. I know that I shouldn't be surprised, but somehow it is surprising to hear.
Hmm.
Because, we see, I mean, many of us see the YouTube videos, we look at the news and all this stuff, and we know, well, not so much the news, but the YouTube videos tells us that a lot of people are exiting the U.S. and
Mm,
and not many are going into the U.S. But still, it's different when you hear from someone that you
mhm.
know, that's actually had the experience.
Mhm.
Um, that makes it really interesting. Yeah, yeah, I'll be glad when everyone comes out, they're supposed to
Mhm.
come out. I'll be really, really glad. I'm looking forward to my children and my family members coming out, loved ones. I think we all have the same, or many of us have the same, are saying the same prayer, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Get, may the Most High quickly deliver us, right? And
Yes.
so, yeah, so it's interesting times. I was looking at this video briefly. I didn't get the whole thing yet, but it was talking about the Afro Iranians, and
Oh.
yes,
The
very
Afro.
interesting. I really shouldn't even have brought it up when I haven't read, listened to the whole thing yet, but I just find it interesting, and now I have to look into, well, how are these people getting by in this situation, right? And like what it means to Africa as a whole. I think many of us know what it means for the U.S. or the West, right? Biblically
Mhm.
speaking, it's over, right? Judgment is on the land. But
Mhm.
I think that it's interesting to learn about these other people uh, whom I never, like I wasn't aware of.
That part. I didn't know there were Afro Iranians, and now I just feel I mean, of course, you know.
Yeah, like you should, right? Like we should have known. We should have known.
I
But
just
yeah,
it wasn't on my radar, I guess. But that's really interesting. I'm glad that you brought that up.
yeah. So coming back and forth, like I'm looking forward to your return, and then when you get settled in, new house and all that. But I'm just saying, perhaps we'll get the chance as a community to go somewhere. And
Mm-hmm.
like I think about prior to leaving the United States, I was just like, I thought we might have time to like say come to Rwanda, establish business, right, and then go somewhere else.
Mm.
Whether it be to live or just to go, like to experience is really
Yeah.
what I mean. And
Yeah.
I hope that, I mean, I don't know if there's time for all that stuff, but I would love to go other places on the continent.
Mm.
I don't want to go to Iran or, or any of those places, of course, but I do want to travel, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm wondering if on this side of the world, right,
Yes.
would travel still be available, if it'll still be affordable, if it
Yeah.
will even be something that we should do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think with the way the world is going right now, these are things that you definitely want to think about and consider. Because honestly, we have some idea of how things are going to go, but then you just want to make sure that you're doing the right thing and you're in the right place and that you can maintain safety for yourself and others. And then with that, you have to think of the practicalities and the logistics, like
Right.
how, like, if I needed to leave, like, where would I go and how would I get there? Like, we were just talking the other day, like, if we needed to leave Rwanda, the closest place is Tanzania, and and I found out there's only one direct road to Tanzania from Rwanda. So if we can't fly there, we would have to drive there, and we could either take this direct route, which is literally a 2-lane road, one going in, one coming out, or we could go through Burundi, which just sounds treacherous to me. So these are things to know.
Right.
And then we got the DRC on the other side. I'm not sure that's where I would want to go. And I'm not looking at a map. I don't know what's above us. Above us is what, Uganda?
I'm not looking at a map either, but I will say that I don't want to have to go through Burundi, nor do I want to go through the DRC. So one of my prayers is that if we have to leave here, that the Most High will give us that heads up. So, so we can be ahead, like, give us the heads up, give us the grace and the level of obedience that we need to, and the resources, right, that we need to react when He says so.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, is that really the Most High? Like, I don't,
Yes.
I don't want one of those situations. I
Yes.
want to know that He's saying, get up, go.
Yes.
And so, like when you say practicality, it just makes sense to go to
Mm-hmm.
Tanzania from Kigali.
Yeah.
It just, from Rwanda, it just makes sense. So if he allows us a heads up, we could be on the road early, or we could be at the airport early. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, like Kigali International Airport is kind of small. Like if you compare it, of course, to other airports like JFK or
Right.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everything, the roads and the airport, there's no train system yet. So there's a bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a bus to Tanzania. My husband Ben calls those buses the kamikaze buses. So
Oh my gosh.
exactly,
Because they'd
exactly.
be barreling through.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
So you talking about praying your way through something, boy? That's what that would be like. But yeah, I pray that the Most High would give us some notice ahead of time, and that we would be obedient,
Yes.
like not hesitate. Just go ahead and do what we need to do because our safety depends on it. For real,
Yes.
for real.
Mhm.
Because the threat is not only from global, what when I say, well, it's not, okay, we have the DRC and stuff like that. I'm just going to stop it right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's funny because I was on the way out when I was on my way to the airport. I saw a yellow bus, and I think it was a school bus, and I was like, I want that bus. I think even when I was living in the U.S., I was like, I want a big yellow bus, and just to like have it, right? Because I think they're cute, and I mean, also you could just put a lot of people and stuff in there, and it would be practical, but not as practical as a like legit safari vehicle, which
Yeah.
Jay and I saw like a really nice safari vehicle in the parking lots. I think we were at Mr. Chips, and we saw a big like safari vehicle, so you could do on road, off road, and it was big enough. So like it's five of us, well six of us, including my mother-in-law and two dogs. So it would be large enough to contain all of us and the two animals and luggage. So I think ideally, if that would be our next thing, in lieu of being prepared for whatever, is to have like a safari vehicle. Because right now we just have two motorcycles, which I don't drive motorcycles. I ride, I don't drive.
And
And I
even
can't
if you
imagine
did,
putting three children and two dogs on a motorcycle.
right, right. And the mother-in-law.
And a
Yeah,
mother-in-law. We'll put her on
yeah.
top.
I too have been thinking of the safari vehicle. I mean, not only are they nice, they're very practical, like you said.
Hmm.
Because where we get our acacia honey, we get it from Tanzania. And
Mm.
one time I asked our beekeepers, like, can we drive there? It's in Arusha. And she was like, you can, but you have to really be careful because there's a lot of roads that are like the infrastructure is not at the level that it is here in Kigali, right? And so you may have roads that stop being roads, rickety bridges, stuff like that. So
Rickety
it would.
bridges. Did you just say rickety bridges?
She didn't
I'm
use.
not
She
going over
didn't.
a rickety bridge. That's not
She didn't use the
happening.
word rickety, but that's what it sounded like
No.
she was trying to say to me.
You know, they have strong bridges here in the U.S., and that one bridge just collapsed in Pennsylvania, like randomly, and people were just on their way to work. It was not a rickety bridge. Listen, and if a bridge, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's my, that's my
that's been
line.
my
I can't
yeah.
do it. I don't like bridges to begin
Exactly.
with.
Exactly. So but it would be good to have the kind of vehicle that can tackle, you know, um, tough
Terrain.
terrain or
Yeah.
whatever, rain. I was getting ready to say rain, sleet, and snow. No, rain and
No
mud,
snow. Yeah.
no snow, no sleet, no
No
ice.
sleet.
But there
And
are other things. There are other things.
yes.
But I wonder if we were leaving from Kigali and going to Tanzania, I think I would just want to get off once I cross the Tanzania border, get off and just hop on the ferry. The ferry is what, like 30 minutes, and go to
Okay.
Zanzibar. You know,
Okay. Go to Zanzibar. Okay.
yeah. I think that would be practical. I guess we'll see if we ever have to do these things, how the Most High will have us do it. And in addition to that, it's good to have a plan, right?
Mhm.
Even though you don't know, like we could make a plan for Tanzania, we could make a plan for Kenya, we could, you know what I'm saying? Maybe more than one. Who knows?
Yeah. Man, I wish we had those freeze dryers here. We could make some MREs.
Word. Let me tell you, I
But
miss my MREs.
yeah. Well,
We had so
talking
much
about
stuff like you guys.
traveling light and having some good food, like that would be great.
Yeah, yeah. And we had the ones now. that they have, that the heating mechanism
Mm.
is in there already. So you kind of just like break it and it warms the food. I don't know how because I never had to use it, but
Okay.
MREs have come a long way.
Hmm. I didn't
Yeah,
know
they've
that
come
one.
a long
That sounds
way.
like advanced technology. Wow.
Yeah, we left them. We left all that stuff with one of our brothers, and I'm glad of that. That's another thing I'm glad of because I know that they're in good hands, and I know that they'll help him and his family.
Mm-hmm.
If and when they need it.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so this feels a little bit somber, but I think it's necessary to be real about what's going on in the world,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I
We
was,
have to
I
be
was,
real.
yeah, and I was looking at how it might affect Africa. There could be many ways, but I guess I'll just land on the final thing that we have to remember is that Africa will remain.
Mm.
Africa will remain. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Africa, Africa is rising.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it will stand. So that doesn't mean that she won't be affected,
Mm-hmm.
right? But she will stand. And that's why people need to come
Right.
and figure out
Yay.
how to live. Yes. Remember when we were all at the house when Zoe was here? We had that luncheon and Jay
Yes.
created
And
that
your mom
video.
was there.
Yeah, and
Yes.
what was it like? You should be here. That was a very nice video.
That was a
That was
great
a
video.
very nice video.
Yes. It
And
really
that
did. It it really captures the essence of what it's like for us here in Africa. The
yes.
community, just that peace and that ability to just fellowship and share food and be in the warmth of the sun, the African sun, and and just and the pace of it too. Like
Yeah.
that's the biggest difference. I mean, and I mean, clearly, um, I'm American, so I know what it's like to live in America. But it's weird because coming back to America, I almost feel like I'm in reverse culture shock. Like everybody is rushing and everybody is in a hurry, and there's so much like tension, and I'm like, for what? Like, what are we rushing to? Like, why? Like, my brother took me out to eat at a restaurant, and I'm sitting there, and I could barely say hello to the waitress, but she's like, "Hi, how are you? Can I get you something to eat?" Blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't even talk as fast as she is. I just was like, I think water will be fine for now. She's like, "Okay, I'll be right back," and she's like running off, and I was just like, I don't know. I just wasn't ready. And because I'm used to, or I've grown accustomed to when we sit down at a restaurant in Africa, people are genuinely like, hello. And I'm like, hi, how are you? I am fine. How are you? It's just,
Right.
and I've grown accustomed to more of like that personability. And in America, and that was just one example in the restaurant, but like just everywhere I go, and just when I'm interacting with people and they want information from me, like, all praises to the Most High. I'm able to work while I'm here, and I got this job, and it was way too easy. Like they know I'm coming back to Africa, and they were like, no problem, you can work here for X amount of weeks, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, this is too easy. That's how I knew like the Most High is looking out for me and my family. And I was talking to them on a Friday. They're like, welcome to the team, and I'm like, great, I have some questions. And she said, that's fine, I'm out of the office until Monday. Here's my email, you can email me some questions. I'm like, okay, that's Friday at the end of the day. And so I'm going about my weekend, and then Sunday I get a text message from her, from this owner, and she's like, I opened my email and I didn't see any questions from you. And I'm like, it's. And I was like, well, I didn't message you because it's the weekend, and you said you're going to be out of the office until Monday. So why would I bother you over the weekend? I said, I'll send you those questions this evening. But even that kind of like, it was just, to me, it's not necessarily negative, but it's everywhere and it's coming from all places. And it's this general expectation of like doing everything immediately and just stopping everything that you're doing to get something done and try to do it as fast as you can and da 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 da. And I'm like, I told my Aunt Jan, I said, I'm resisting it. I'm resisting the anxiety. I'm resisting it. I am a pure rebel right now. Like, we're going to slow down. We're just going to take our time. We're not rushing, okay? Because there's no reason to. So, yeah, sorry. I
Right.
had to go off on that tangent. That was my rant about just coming back and just, that's something I'm navigating it and I'm still resisting it. So.
I hear that because it takes so long to detox from it, right?
Mm,
Like, I mean, we've been here over a year, and and sometimes well, oftentimes I still feel like if I'm not doing something, that I'm being unproductive.
mm,
Because it's like you said, that, in the States, like we're used to being that hamster on the wheel, that situation, right? So you
mhm,
come to a place where things are more laid back, you know, you still do business, but
mhm.
you're not running the same.
Yeah,
And it's hard to even get all that stuff that you've been doing all most of your life out of you, right?
yeah,
And you finally make some progress, and then you have to go back into that atmosphere. So you have to resist. You have to
yeah.
resist.
And like, I'm thinking about it. So when I went out to eat, like we went to like a Mexican restaurant, and I said, I don't like. I'm thinking about it. Like, are we s- in such a way that we can't, like, we need our tacos in 5 minutes from the moment that we sit down? Like, are we not able to like manage our own hunger symptoms to where like we're upset if we don't get our meal within 15 minutes? Or because I'm not talking about service, right? Like, customer service is important. When people address you, you come into the restaurant, they say hello, they take you to your seat. Hi, how are you? Can I help you with anything? And they're efficient in that way as far as good customer service. But does it have to be so? It's almost like it perpetuates this impatience, or I think it kind of feeds into like this impulsivity. I don't know if impulsivity is the right word, but it's almost like, I'm hungry, I need to eat now, kind of like. Anyways,
You know what?
I digress.
No, 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 it's so cool because you're reminding me of something. Like when I was much younger and I was dating, like I want to say from 16 years on, right?
Mm,
My boyfriend at the time, we liked to eat out, right? And it was always an experience. I mean, if you didn't want to like just chill and be in a nice environment and enjoy one another's company, then you would just run to like a McDonald's or a KFC or something like that. But when you
mm-hmm,
go out to dinner, right, it was more, at least back then, for me, it was more about enjoy. You get so wrapped up in having a good conversation,
mm,
like who you were having dinner with, or whatever meal it was, whoever you were with is what made the whole experience complete, right?
mm,
So of course, you're there to eat, but you're also there to enjoy. You're
mm-hmm.
also there to have some leisure, uh,
Yes.
a leisurely time, right? But now, based on what you're saying, it's like there's no leisure. Like, you know,
Right, and of course I'm not speaking for every single restaurant here, but because I know there's still some like nicer, like maybe fancier, more expensive. I don't know if I'm just making stuff up, but I know that I've been to a few restaurants where things were slower, meant for that purpose, but still, I think I'm just speaking to the whole atmosphere. Like everywhere you
Gotcha.
go, it's just
Gotcha.
people are it's to me it's anxiety and impatience with with a coat of efficiency. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
this image of productivity and efficiency, and it's really just fueled by anxiety and impatience and just like. And if you think about impatience, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. If you think about impatience, impatience is literally a symptom of pride, and pride is like very self-centered. I'm gonna stop there, but that's why I'm just like I don't like it.
Yeah, I get it. And that's why when you come to another country or another continent, such as Africa, right? It may be the adjustment is huge. I'm not even saying it
Mm,
may. You do have to adjust because things are going to go slowly. Your patience is going to
that's
be
true.
tried. You know, you and once you get to that place that I believe that the Most High is bringing us to, we'll learn to enjoy
Mm,
the time rather than rush through it.
mm-hmm.
Like we're accomplishing so much, but we're not really accomplishing anything. Like
Right.
except for like you said, becoming more anxious,
Mm-hmm.
racing to
I think the ultimate goal is comfort. It's like personal comfort. Like we are rushing and we're doing all this stuff and we want to be efficient because we want to be the best because we want to be recognized and we want to be successful in our job so that we can live the life that we want to live. And I think that coming to Africa, um, that part about slowing down and really learning how to enjoy, I think a big part of it is learning to be comfortable with yourself and then also to enjoy yourself and to be able to recognize who you are as a person.
right,
And I think that was the biggest thing for me because it's so easy to find distractions and when you're in an environment where things are slower and you're kind of just forced to deal with yourself, it's that was hugely that was hard. But it was
word,
rewarding
right.
and it
Because
was
if you don't
truly
like your
like
own
yeah,
company, if you don't enjoy your own company, you're
yes,
really going to be challenged
yeah.
for real. Like, because there are just times, like you said, the Walmart isn't around the corner. Like, nothing. Like, it's not
No,
even a
it's
mile
not.
two
You're
ways.
right.
You're not going to shop your way through this. You're not. You could potentially eat your way through it, but at some point, you got to deal with yourself.
Yeah,
You know, and I do think that's a part of the journey
I agree.
that the Most High has us on because I know Gwen and I were talking about it one time, and she was just like, she has said to the Most High that when she gets to Africa, she's going to spend more time with Him. And
Mm,
that's it in a nutshell, isn't it? You
mm,
know,
yeah,
us not having the same distractions, or virtually no distractions, really. Like unless, of course, you can count getting on your phone, right, and living in that world. But I think that we just have the time to do things that we didn't have the time to do before, and that these are the things that count.
yes,
Because success from the Most High's point of view is not the same as this worldly success that we were chasing.
yes.
You know, so while I mean, I love to have nice things. Don't, yeah, nobody, please get this twisted. I like to live in a nice environment and have nice things if possible, right? But what I'm saying is, you get to shed a lot of things that really don't count.
Mhm,
And you
mhm,
do get to spend more time with the Most High and the wonder of His creation, of His grace, His mercy.
mhm,
Some of the things that you may have rushed through before,
mhm,
right? Or like me, sometimes I used to have to wake up 4 or 5 a.m. just to
mhm,
get in a little reading, or before the day starts. Now
mhm,
things just go a lot more slower, and it's just This is more slower. There's time to do the things that you haven't done before. And
Hmm.
again, they they turn out to be the more important things.
I agree. And I think, would you agree that, and maybe this is true for just being in a different culture, but the mindset and the expectations are different. Like it's just a different. I know America is very like independence driven, like very like self sufficient. Like not that that's a bad thing, but they get to the point where it's like competitive, right? And I'm finding in Rhonda at least that the expectations are a little bit different. The mindset is a little bit different. It's more community and relationship driven, which I think is beautiful because when you think about a person, and so everybody has a set of values, things that matter to them. And when our lives are not in line with our own value system, that's when we start to experience that conflict. These are my thoughts. This is what I think. I feel like when we have that opportunity to be in an environment where our actual value system is starting to, or our lives are starting to reflect our true value system, we start to find more peace and we start to find more just harmony with our lives. So like, for example, my value system, like I value my relationship with the Most High, with my family, and since I've been on the continent, like you were saying, what Gwen was hoping for is having more time with the Most High. And because the expectation and the mindset is different on the continent or in Rhonda, I feel like we're more able to do that.
And I think we talked about before, like having more time to do the things, do some other things that we may not have had time to do. For instance, like writing.
Hmm.
I wrote a book. Yes.
Yay! Jayne wrote a book.
So I'm very excited. I'm waiting for it to be published in a couple of days. Called name of the book is Homesick in High Definition, and
Mm-hmm.
I think even though the main character in the book, even though she's much younger, I think that she experiences some of the things that you and I are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Just finding ways to fit
Wow.
in, and ways of belonging, and also enjoying the quiet, like learning to like yourself, you
Yes.
know, and that's so important. And for me, like in the past, like I really had to learn to like myself, and I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I had the experience because I think this may sound crazy. I don't really know where I'm going yet, but I want to say, like, you're in a bad relationship, for instance,
Yeah, yeah.
that you may stay there because you don't want to be by yourself. Then
Mm.
you created a whole nother problem where you prolonged the problem that you you just
Mm-hmm.
made the problem that you already are in worse, right? Because you're refusing to let go because you don't want to be by yourself. You understand
Wow.
what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, even before I knew who I am, right? You go through these bad relationships and stuff like that. So many people do. I know not every single person. And the Most High would just sever that relationship. It didn't feel like, I didn't know it was him, and it didn't feel good, of course, but I had to go through it. And in that process of going through it, I learned to be alone,
Mm.
you know, and in being alone, I learned to start liking my own company,
Mm.
right? And so I guess I'm saying all that to say that if you haven't experienced that yet, and you come to another country, or another continent such as Africa, that may you're going to experience that. You're going to, because as we said earlier, the distractions are not there, or they're not here. So you're going to have to learn to deal with yourself, right? And let the Most High purge out. all that stuff
Mm.
that was not of him.
Mm.
You have to allow it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think, well, we can do this the hard way or we can do this the easy way. So
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm just trying to convey. Like you have to like your own company, or if you don't, or if you're not in that place already, you need to learn to start learning how to do that. Start
Mm-hmm.
understanding that you are fearfully or wonderfully made in the image of Yah, right? And stop taking BS from other people and just say, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about that is the Most High is there with you every step of the way. I
Yes.
remember sitting there. I think a couple years ago, I was in a position where I was kind of feeling like I had to reckon with myself and just reckon with like what's going on in my life. And I remember sitting in my prayer time, and talking to Yahuwah and being like, oh my gosh, all these things are wrong with me. I need to fix this. I need to fix that. I need to heal from this. And I'm like, what do I need to do? And he said nothing. He basically was like, I want you to sit in my presence. And I was like, okay, cool. And then do what?
Be still.
Anything? There was no answer. Sit in my presence. Well, how am I supposed to heal? How does it work?
Yeah.
Sit in my presence. And also, I would have this list of this is what I need to heal from, this is what I need to heal from, this is what I need to heal from. He said, healing comes from me. You
Mm.
know, I'm the one that heals. I know what you need more than what you know that you need. And I need you to start looking at me and stop looking at yourself, right?
Right.
And just be in my presence and sit in whatever it is that you're experiencing. Because I'm so uncomfortable, right? So I'm so uncomfortable with these feelings of like, oh man, I messed up again, or oh man, I know this about myself, but I really want to change it. And I'm so uncomfortable with those feelings. I want to hurry up and get rid of those feelings. I'm like, all right, what do I have to do to fix it? And he's like, I need you to sit in this, and I need you to see who I've created you to be. I need you to, like you said, sometimes we just get so much BS that comes in, and either through things that people have spoken over to us in different relationships that we've been, or even from our parents or whatever. Not knocking parents. I'm just saying like we all go through things and people say things and they stick with us sometimes, and that's part of dealing with yourself. There's a biblical principle: when the gold is refined, it's put in what, in heat, so all the dross come to the top.
Right. Yes.
So it has to sit in the heat
Right.
in order for the impurities to rise up. And it's okay. We all have imperfections. It's okay. Like, no one is perfect. It's okay to sit and let the impurities come out and let the Most High just scoop off the dross. It's
Right.
okay. It's all good.
Right.
And just allow, and that's part of the healing process, and just letting Him do the work and looking at Him.
Exactly. When you talked about how do I do this, like how do I sit, right? Because sitting feels like what were we saying earlier? It feels like you ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's
Yeah,
exactly where it's hard not to do anything if that's not who you are as I mean, some people may find it easier to be still, but I had to learn to be still, you know.
right.
And I remember like, well, a lot of my history, like that I was, addicted to drugs and different things like that. But when the Most High delivered me, there came a time where everything was stripped from me, right?
Mm,
And I didn't know like how to go forward, right? So I
wow.
stopped. So I literally stopped. Because prior to that, I was trying to do like he had, I had received his promises and stuff, and I was excited, and I was going on, call myself walking in faith, right? But I was also making decisions that I probably shouldn't have been making. I'm just going to put it like that,
Okay.
okay? Based on what I wanted, and just expecting him to answer,
Mm,
right? And he did eventually answer, but he has to do this. He'll do this at his time when we're ready for it, right?
Mm,
Like you wouldn't buy Jace a motorcycle right now. He's only what, 6? So you
right.
understand what I'm saying. So I
Absolutely.
had to, when I finally got it, that the Most High didn't need my help to get me out of whatever situation I was in. I sat still, and I'm telling you, the people closest to me was very. They just couldn't understand it. Like even my
Mm,
mom was like, "Why don't you do something?"
wow.
Yeah, and I was like, "Listen, I've done everything that I can do. I've done everything that I can do, so I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait on the Most High because I don't know what to do next." And I'm saying all this to say, is doing nothing is hard. Waiting for the Most High to do what He said that He was going to do for you is not easy, right?
Wow.
And it could
Yeah.
look like you're doing nothing when in fact you're praying, right? You're going into your closet, right? And you speaking to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're listening for him. It could look like nothing to everybody
Mm-hmm.
else, but it's
Mm-hmm.
something that's
Yes.
happening between you and the master. And it's going to manifest when he's ready for it to.
Yes.
So, doing nothing has value. I'm not saying mindless nothing, right? He never tells us to be mindless. But sitting still, waiting on him
Mm-hmm.
is important. And I think it's even more so in the times that we're living in, because we could
Mm-hmm.
easily make a left when we should have made a right, or vice
Mm-hmm.
versa, if we
Yes.
don't listen,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I love that. I mean, I hope that's encouraging to whoever's listening right now because that's real life, and that's what it that's what it's like to be called and to be in relationship with our creator and just trusting that he has our best interest in mind, that
Right.
he has good plans for us, right? That he's continuously interceding for us and singing songs over us and just he delights in us, right? That we are the apple of his eye, that he
Hallelujah.
cares for us, and that he will never leave us, nor will he forsake us. And just really leaning into him and not looking at the expectations of even the people that are closest to you, and really
Exactly.
just pushing and impressing in to your relationship, into the prayers, and into his word, and just standing on that. Because at the end of the day, we answer to Yahuwah. We answer to him alone.
That's right.
And I love that. I love that he's there for us.
Absolutely. Like, I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for him.
Ooh,
Mm. That's the truth of it.
same. Ooh, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just so thankful that I have a relationship with the Most High because I think, especially in today's world, I think about it. I'm like, how can I even tell somebody or convince them that it's worth it? This is worth it. I think about it constantly. How can I tell somebody? Because there's just so much going on. There's so much going on in the world, and there's so many different ideas and directions and things that people say you should believe in or don't believe in, and everything is just, it can be chaotic and confusing. And I often just wonder, like, how can I convince somebody, like, this is the path. This is the good one right here. This one is good. And if you stick to it, you'll realize how good it is.
I don't believe we can convince anyone. I mean, really, we just share following Yahuwah. And I know, I remember when I first came into the truth of who I am, oh my gosh, I tried to tell everybody, I did tell everybody I know, right?
Yeah.
And I used to like just talk about it all the time. Like, and for years, and until, excuse that noise, I apologize, fam. Until I realized that they're not going to get it until it's time for them to get it.
Mm.
You know how Scripture says, one, what is it? One plants, another waters, but Yah gets the increase.
Mm.
So we plant these seeds. Someone's going to come along and water them, and then He's going to get the increase at the end. But as far as
Mm.
convincing people go, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know they
Mhm.
even though it may feel like we convinced them, but it could feel like that because we came in on the end, like somebody had already planted,
Right. Right.
and so we
Yeah.
came, gave it some water, and people was like, oh yes,
Right.
I get it now.
Mm.
But I
Yeah.
see a slow progression. I know that it wasn't overnight for me. I don't think it's over. I don't know anyone that it was overnight for. And it's just, it's kind of like, it causes me to feel a little bit sad because I understand, like, especially if I'm looking at my kids who are grown, I understand that they have to have their own testimony.
Mm.
And I hate to see some of the things that they're engaging in, but I believe all that's going to help them to get there.
Mm.
you know, because sometimes it seems to me that's just how this thing works, at least in my family. You got to make all these mistakes. You know what I'm saying. I do look forward to the finish, to the final, product. And I also know that even if I'm not here, that my kids are still going to be saved. And
Mm.
why is that? Because
Hallelujah.
the promises won't die with me, right?
Mm.
They won't. I mean, when I think about my great aunts, my grandmother, like both of them, who, did things to introduce me to Yahusha, even though they called him Jesus, right?
Mhm.
They never got to see the transformation, but it
Wow.
still happened, right? And I know that they were
Wow.
praying. So all that gives me a great deal of hope, like we don't have to put any limits on Yahuwah. He got all this,
Mm.
right?
You got this.
Regardless what it looks like.
Yeah. Mm. I
He's
love
good.
it.
He's good.
Yeah. What do people say? Let go and let God.
Yeah. Yes. That's it.
I feel like we just gotta let go and let Him take the wheel.
Oh, yes. Take the will.
And we gotta let Him take the wheel, right?
I was talking to your husband, Jay, yesterday, and he was telling us y'all's testimony, which is fabulous,
I know, right?
awesome,
We'll
great,
have to talk about that. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about
amazing,
that for real though. We're gonna
right?
have to do it. Janie, I was thinking about this. Sorry, but before I forget, because my squirrel brain. I was thinking we were talking about the Hebrew Thrive Collective yesterday, and
Hmm.
I was gonna say it would be really cool, and I think you already did it today. It would be really cool to have like a praise report day, even if it was like praise report Friday. To really be like, hey, this is how Yah is showing up in our business and how he's showing up in our lives. Like, we don't even have to wait for a day. We could have a day.
Yeah.
And then also for the podcast, wouldn't it be cool to have a testimony Thursday or something? But if we have extra testimonies, maybe we can do an extra special one, like breaking
I like
report.
that too. I like that too. And that is interesting because I did ask for that. I did ask for a testimony today on Hebrews Thrive, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
you and I hadn't even that's
Yeah. I thought
yeah.
about it yesterday, and I was like, let me say something, but I was like, no, Abby, don't tell Janie what to do with her Hebrew Thrive Collective. Don't say
Oh
nothing.
my
I didn't want to be
goodness.
like, because I feel like I'm always that person, like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. Like, I feel like I'm just always giving unsolicited advice. So I just was holding my tongue yesterday.
But yeah, it is a good idea. And yeah, I don't feel like you give me unsolicited advice.
I
So
feel like I well, thank you. I
thanks for not
appreciate
doing
that.
that. But I feel like I'm the same way. I mean, come on. I'm older, I'm wiser. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I got something to contribute. I feel like
Maybe
I
that's what it is, because I got some gray hairs coming in. Maybe that's what it is.
yeah. So like is there any pitfalls that I can help you like miss? You know?
That part though, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, I like testimonies,
Hmm.
and even if, and I think,
Because we live by, because what is that scripture? We are saved by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of a
and the word of my
testimony.
testimony, yeah,
Yes, it's important.
it's important. It's another way of giving Yahuwah praise, right?
Mm.
Like, even if, I mean, it could be a small look. Some people might feel like I don't have anything to testify about. Well, he woke you up. How about
Yes,
starting right there? Like,
yes,
he woke you up
yes.
this morning.
Or even like I told Jay, he was telling me, he was like, man, he was talking about last year, not to put him out there like that, but he was just like, I was like, how do you feel like 2025 went? He was like, 2025 was rough, all the stuff going with the farm, and, we had found some people who weren't doing right by him, and it turned into this whole mess, and it cost him a lot of money. And I was like, but you have a farm too.
I like the way you do
Somebody
that.
gave you were able to purchase this land. And he's like, you know what, you're right.
I think one of the things that many of us have to deal with is, well, we have to remember that there's always going to be opposition. And so we supposed to what? Just get through that. Trust that Yahuwah is with us and go through. Even when Joshua, when they came into the promised land, they still had to fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think about things like that, and it doesn't, I won't say that it makes things easier, but I will say that it helps me to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because nobody said that this thing was going to be easy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then when you don't quit, you win,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. So Jay
Yeah.
has won. You guys have won. We have won. But I just want to give this little plug to the family that's listening who haven't come to the continent yet. Um, yeah, you're going to run into hard times, and you're going to run into people who want to cheat you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but one of the things that we do here is help people, right? So we have a whole family here that can help you navigate what you need to do with renting your home, buying your land, leasing your land. Because we've been through it. We've been
Mm-hmm.
stolen from. We've overpaid for things,
Mm-hmm.
and we can help. Here's that word again, pitfalls, right? We can help those coming miss some of those pitfalls, and that's it for that. But yeah, I feel a bit responsible. Well, yeah, but I didn't know either what you and Jay experienced here, and we came when Ben and I came here. We bought our land. I'm sure at this point we probably overpaid too, because the same person y'all bought your land from is the same person who negotiated our land. And in fact, we referred that person to you guys. We didn't know that we were being ripped off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but again, you have your farm, like you reminded your husband. We still have our parcel of land,
Mm-hmm.
and we can still do something with it. So it's just like it's the learning curve. But again, people who are coming here, people who tune into us, and if the Most High leads you to conversate with us about what you want to do, we're going to do our best to help you, not be ripped off.
Absolutely. Definitely. That's why I feel like we're just paving the way, to be honest. And,
Yeah,
the Most High is providing for us every step of the way.
absolutely.
Every
And
step.
And his provision, and I think that's another thing uh, people need to know about the Most High. Like he, his provision doesn't always look like you want it to look, but you always get what you need. Always, he provides our needs, right? And then at some point, he'll give us the desires of our hearts too. If we're obedient, right? And also, those desires need to align with His will, right? So but yeah, like I just think like one of the misconceptions, a major misconception is that if things are not going your way or you know you're not getting the things you wanted, the most high is not with you. And that is not the truth. Okay. That is not the truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Psalm 37. Delight thyself also in Elohim, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. I think
Hallelujah.
there's a second part. I gotta find it. I'm sorry, I'm such a Bible nerd. There's a second part that we always leave out, and I remember thinking how important it was. But it's Psalm 37, 4 and 5. Delight thyself also in Elohim, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto Elohim. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass.
Hmm.
I feel like
Hallelujah.
that should be our scripture verse of the day.
Yeah, trust, trust, trust.
It kind of sums up everything that we've been talking about today. Delight yourself in Elohim.
Yes.
Literally sit there and delight in his ways, in his word. Can we be in a good mood about what Elohim is doing when he's asking us to sit there and quote unquote do nothing? Let's delight. And he'll give us the desires of our heart.
You know, mentioning earlier, you mentioned how he sings over us, and I think about how we can sing to him too, right? Sing
Mm,
just like spend time being grateful, right? Because
mhm,
every day doesn't feel like a good day, but that's all right. It's really all right because he's still on the throne. You
mhm,
know,
mhm.
his spirit is still guiding us. He knows exactly where we are. He knows what we need, and he'll make it happen in his time. And so
Yeah.
that comes along with trusting him, right? So I wonder, is trusting in him synonymous with delighting in him,
Mm,
right? Like,
mm.
because I'm sure it gives him pleasure
I
that
think
we
you
trust,
need to take that to Mark and Yvonne on Thursday and do a little Bible study on that and those two verses.
trust and delight. Yeah. I mean, just think like if you, I don't know, as a parent, and you ask your kids, "Well, do you trust me to do right by you? You know, you trust me that I know what's best for you,
Mhm.
right? You know, that's delightful when they say yes and they just wait for you to make it happen for them.
That's so true, though. Oh my gosh, what a great picture, Janie. Yes.
Yeah,
When my kids are just waiting and they're trusting in me, like how much easier is it for me to just, because it prevents all the stuff that I have to deal with to get them to a place where I can actually give them what they need. Wow, that's so powerful.
right,
That's a good
right.
picture.
Praise the
A
God.
great metaphor.
Yeah,
All right. I think this is a good place to kind of wrap it up. This was fantastic. I love where we went with this conversation, and I truly hope it blessed the people listening as much as it blessed me. It is very encouraging for me today, just
it's
to
fun.
sit here and talk with you, Janie, about all these things. And, I'm looking forward to getting that testimony episode because I think that would be fantastic.
I believe so too. I mean, I know it will be, you know, and I think it's important just in case our audience doesn't know. Like, we don't uh we don't figure out what we're going to talk about most of the time unless we're interviewing couples, right? We This is just us talking, letting the Most High lead, right? Letting the Ruach just guide our conversation, which may, in the beginning, may seem like it's kind of random, but then it comes together, right? Because it's not random. So whatever we said today, somebody needed to hear that. Not only, like Abby said, it blessed her, it blessed me, and I know that it's blessing someone who's listening. And I praise the Most High for
Yes, hallelujah. All right, fam, thank you so much for listening today. Please like this episode. If it has blessed you, please share it with somebody you think that might also receive blessing from this episode. And don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave it under the video, or you can email us at herstory@gmail.com. Janie and I are happy to receive any messages, any stories, any comments, any questions, any concerns. We're here for you guys. So, with that, we're out of here. We love you guys. Shalom, fam.
that. Shalom.